Okay, so let's just keep going. Let's keep rolling. And to what I normally do in a podcast is just kind of have people share their stories of like how they became a digital nomad and share their overall wisdom. And so, yeah, like I mentioned in the beginning, before we talked about your ayahuasca retreats that are coming up, link in the description, is how you were a Wall Street guy.
Okay.
And basically you had extreme burnout and decided to go to Thailand and get spiritual and jump ship. So I know a lot of guys are in that same position, whether Wall Street or corporate. I did corporate for 2 years, and then I was so fed up and jumped ship. Luckily because of YouTube and Johnny FD and Jabril.
Johnny,
and Johnny got me out here because of the conference for sure.
Definitely.
That's where we met.
Same here.
In 2014, we met at the same conference 4 years ago. And so yeah, man, take us back as far back as you want to go. Like you obviously went to college and got a degree and then went to Wall Street.
So yeah, I come from my parents are immigrants. My dad's from Hong Kong and he immigrated over. My mom's Chinese. She was born in the U.S. So I came from a very typical Asian family. Hit college, go to grad school, and get that 9-to-5 job. And I'm the oldest, so I have 2 younger brothers. So it was a very hard upbringing. I just want to make my parents happy, make them proud. So yeah, so I did the typical college degree, and then it's 25. So I grew up in upstate New York, and there's not much going around there. So I applied to jobs in the city. One was it was through a headhunter. One was for the UN, and one was for a bank called Morgan Stanley. And he goes, "Which one you want?" And me being the young buck that I was, I'm like, "Which one pays more?" And he goes, "The bank." So I said, "All right, let's do it."
That's what you do. Go work for a bank. Yep.
So I moved down to the city, 26, and I got the job, and that pretty much started 8 years of a Wall Street career. I was at Morgan Stanley, and then Fox Pay Kelton, a smaller bank, and then Macquarie Bank, it's a big Aussie bank. And halfway into that career is when I was juggling my MBA for grad school. So I was getting my business degree, and it was the typical fast-paced, party, drink a lot, drugs. So
Wolf of Wall Street.
Very complete.
We've seen that movie. Yeah.
Complete opposite of what we live now, where it's healthy, holistic, meditation. So I was 28, 29. I wake up one day and I'm at my girlfriend's house and I'm like, I can't breathe. And she's like, it's nothing. Shit. And I'm like, all right. So I go to grad school to take my entrance exam. It's like a 4-hour test. I'm like, all right, I still feel not so good. So I go to the hospital. The doctor, they do their test on me. They're like, you look like a healthy guy. You work out. Let's do an x-ray just to be sure. So they come back with the x-rays, and I have 2 lungs. The left lung is nice and elongated, which is healthy. And then he puts up the right lung, this side, and he goes, it's not elongated. Instead, it's collapsed. It's the size of a golf ball.
Oh my God.
Because it's collapsed and you can't breathe. That's why you feel like in pain all day.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, that's why I feel like shit. So they had to rush me.
I have 1 lung.
Yeah, I have 1 lung. Pretty much breathing the whole day through 1 lung. And luckily that other lung didn't collapse, because if it did, then I'd be dead. I wouldn't be breathing.
Human body is amazing.
They put me into the emergency room. They had to stick a tube in me, reinflate that lung, and do surgery. So that happens, and I'm out of work for a month, and I'm on painkillers. I lose like 20 pounds, 10 kilos, and I'm like, this sucks, but whatever. It's just part of life. It's part of working a high-stress job. So I go back to work, continue my party ways. I didn't change anything. 9 months later, this shit happened again, and this time it hurt hell of a lot more. I knew it was my collapsed lung, so I went to the emergency room. And this time they really had to do like a heavy-duty surgery. It's a surgery that airline pilots and divers get, because they're in pressurized environments. They get collapsed lungs more often.
Oh wow!
So they did that to me, and this time I was out of work for two months of just chilling.
2 months recovering.
Yeah, recovery.
So you basically got like lung surgery?
Yeah, pretty much lung surgery.
Your lung.
Pretty much they had to like sew the lung up against my chest cavity, so it can't physically collapse.
Oh my God! Just like stitch it outwards.
Exactly.
Oh my God!
So even afterwards, I'm like trying to breathe in it, and like it did not feel.
Still, yeah, that's kind of weird, because it doesn't have to like expand. So it's like expanding from the inside.
Exactly. It was all weird. So that happened, and that was pretty much like the wake-up call to be like, what do you want to do, Chris? And so I read this book called Career Renegade, and it was by Jonathan Fields, who I didn't know who he was at the time, but he's another coach, entrepreneur, and he pretty much did the same thing. He worked a lawyer job and had a heart attack and then changed his life. And I was like, I need to figure that. So I then found out about Johnny FD because I was taking one of his dating course.
Oh, wow. No way.
Yeah.
So the original Johnny FD or the previous Johnny FD. Nice.
So I took a dating boot camp because I had horrendous confidence in myself, no self-esteem. And this is like 28, 29. And through that dating, that boot camp, I got into personal development of like really improving myself. But then also that's how I found out about Johnny, because he was a dating instructor for this company I went to. And so he was talking about, going to Thailand, being a Muay Thai fighter, scuba instructor as a job for 3 months at a time. And I'm like, man, that sounds badass. Like, here I am stuck in my cubicle. I'm like, this guy is traveling and getting paid and living this digital nomad lifestyle. Yeah. So I follow him, and then he finally makes a move to Thailand. I'm like, you know what? I need to at least try to go to Thailand and check it out. So I was starting Muay Thai at the time. So after I finished my MBA, I said, hey, listen, can I take a break and just go travel for a month? And they're like, yeah, sure. So I came to Phuket for 3 weeks.
So your job let you?
Yeah.
Or your MBA?
My job let me.
Your Wall Street job?
Yeah.
Let you take a 3-month like sabbatical or whatever?
A 1 month sabbatical.
Oh, 1 month.
All this vacation saved up from all these years not taking vacation.
Oh, okay.
So because of grad school as well. So yeah, so I took a 1 month holiday to Thailand. I trained at Phuket for 3 weeks, 2 weeks in Chiang Mai, and 1 week at Bangkok. And I just fell in love with Thailand. It was my first time in Asia.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, this is where I belong. And I met people,
super sick,
people who were like doing the digital nomad thing before. This is 2012. So I was like, I need to figure out how to get back here because I'm doing something wrong.
Okay, so you came back to New York after like 5 weeks or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, how do I get back there?
I read the 4-Hour Work Week.
Oh, that was the exact same thing for me, dude.
So
I took a 2-week vacation, and then me and Parker went back, and then we were like, shit, how do we like live out here for a year? And then we found Johnny's videos, and then the 4-Hour Work Week, and the rest is history.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much it.
So we found the 4-Hour Work Week, and then
4-Hour Work Week.
Done. You found the Bible, and Jesus took you from there.
Exactly. So 7 months later, quit the job, sold everything in my apartment, and moved back to Phuket permanently.
Heck yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. So what was your original online hustle? I'm sure you had like tons of money saved up from your high-paying
So the first year,
job.
that's the thing, I didn't want to work the first year and a half, 2 years, because I was like, at that point, to be honest, I was fucked up in the head. That collapsed lung was a result of emotional trauma from childhood.
Yeah.
Stuff I was carrying from my relationship with my father, from childhood bullying. So I realized I need to like really heal and work on that stuff. So I was like, let me get into meditation and just train Muay Thai and sleep and read a shitload of books. That's all I did for the first year.
Work on yourself.
So then I went to the first Ayahuasca retreat. So after the Ayahuasca retreat, that's when I came back and I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm clear-headed, I'm grounded. Now I can start thinking about business and entrepreneurship. So, that year I also met somebody, a friend in Phuket, and I actually worked for his company. He was doing Facebook applications. And so I kind of interned with him for a bit, learning about Facebook apps. Like Candy Crush and all those this is back then, like when those Facebook apps were really
games
huge.
Were big, yeah.
Exactly. So I was working for this guy from Australia, and he was kind of like the first digital nomad that I met. So I got to learn from him for a couple months in Phuket. That was like kind of like the break-in. And then, so like I said, when I came back from Ayahuasca retreat back to Phuket, that's when I bought the dropship lifestyle thing. And that was like the first real thing. So that's when I was like, all right, you know what? I need to focus. And I bought that course. Then obviously Anton was like, oh, we're going to do the first retreat in Chiang Mai. So I was like, all right, you know what? Forget Phuket. I need to be around entrepreneurs. So I had just started doing my e-commerce store, my dropshipping store. That was the first thing. So I come up 2 weeks before the retreat. I land there. The first day I get there, I go to Punch Space, I get one sale, and I mentioned to Johnny, and then I get a sale later that night. And that was just like a sign from the universe that, Chris, you made the right move to come to Chiang Mai.
When you got to Chiang Mai, the sale came.
And then Johnny invited me on his podcast that day also. So I got to be interviewed on someone who I looked up to be on Travel Like a Boss. And I was like, oh my God. So that was the first online hustle for me, the dropship.
Wow. So, if you haven't heard my story, like, I bought Dropship Lifestyle in 2013 as well, late 2013. And then, so that was my first like online hustle pretty much. And then came to the same conference that he went to, October of 2014. That was me and my best friend Parker's excuse to jump in with both feet from our corporate jobs. I was doing door knocking, door-to-door sales. Parker was like front desk at the Marriott. And when Johnny announced that they were doing the retreat, we were like, yes, we know, because like big fans of the 4-hour work week. Yeah. So we understand you're the average of the people you hang out around, and so we're like, dude, let's just save up money and we'll just go. And I remember we had no idea what we were doing with these drop shipping stores. I had this like inflatable jacuzzi store, no sales. But I remember I got the first sale. Like shortly after getting to Chiang Mai too.
Yeah.
And then also got on Johnny's podcast like right after a retreat, because like it was like me and Parker coming out as like pretty much brothers. And I gotta listen to that again. It's like a super early episode. Anyway, he's been on my podcast since. I've been on again. Okay, sick. And then so ayahuasca. So you did an ayahuasca retreat. So how did you find out about that initially?
So when I was living in Phuket, I actually traveled up to Chiang Mai to go with my family to show them. My parents came out for 2 weeks, so I showed them around. And when I was in Chiang Mai, I was like, you know what? One of the goals for coming to Thailand was to really dive deep into meditation practice.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I want to go to a 10-day Vipassana retreat, which is a temple, living with the monks at a temple, basically, and just meditating. Nice. So I did that for 10 days. And when I came out, a friend was like, you should check out the Joe Rogan podcast. He's got an episode about ayahuasca. And I was like, all right, I listened to it. And I was, like I said, Aubrey and Graham Hancock. Yeah. And I listened to that and I was just like, man, this is like what I need right now. I'm like on this journey to find myself and fix my shit. I need to like go and experience that. And so I just researched a bunch of places in Peru. And also the timing was I had to go back to New York the next year because my brother was getting married. So I was like, if I'm gonna go all the way back to New York, I'm gonna fly to Peru then. So I just did a bunch of research, and I then flew to the Amazon jungle and Iquitos, and that's where I went to the first 12-day ayahuasca retreat.
Wow.
2014.
And so I guess if people are just tuning in, like on part one we discussed you've been doing these ayahuasca retreats for a couple years now, and this is like your full-time thing now. Yeah. You do these men's ayahuasca retreats now, and you can listen to part one about it's not just a regular ayahuasca retreat. It's like a 1 month beforehand, like coaching, like preparation, and then a 1 month after the retreat, like accountability group, like how to implement everything that we learned. And you're doing that now. Obviously, links in the description for when the next thing will be. Are you doing these regularly? So what was that like, your first one, I guess?
The first time. So I was pretty nervous, to be honest, because we had 7 ceremonies in 12 days, and that's a lot. But for me,
the ceremony is when you're actually drinking the
medicine,
shit and
exactly.
Tripping. Okay.
Exactly. So you know, it's in the middle of nowhere. So to even get to the site, we had to take like a 45-minute bus ride to the river, and then a 45-minute boat ride in the jungle, and then a 45-minute hike. So you're in the middle, deep in the jungle. There's no Wi-Fi, there's no running water. You're staying in a very rustic place, and this is a very traditional way of working with ayahuasca, of drinking ayahuasca. And so I was nervous, you know. It was like me and 20, 30 other people at this retreat. It's a pretty big group. And like I said, I had never really done many psychedelics or plant medicine before that. So I had heard other people's experiences. You listen to Aubrey's experience, and it's like traumatized. I'm like, why people do that? But I trusted the process. So yeah, it was very, even though I was nervous and apprehensive, I still trusted the shamans. I still trusted the medicine. And pretty much my main intention for the first retreat was to really have it be in a more therapeutic way, to really let go of these self-limiting beliefs and these traumas. And for me, by the end of the retreat, it gave me a lot of inner peace that I had been searching for all my life, basically. And I really cleared a lot of heavy emotional baggage, if you will.
Yeah, a cleansing.
A cleansing.
A heart cleansing.
Heart cleansing.
You mentioned before, like a heart surgery. It's like a natural heart cleansing / heart surgery, like all at once, just like bad shit out, fill it out for the good shit.
Exactly.
Like bad ideas out, bad beliefs, limiting beliefs, everything out, like in one crazy, like, you know, we can only imagine us that haven't done it yet, just like experience with God or the universe or whatever you want to call it. Like, okay, yeah, very interesting cleansing experience. And so after that, got into the online business, Chiang Mai, and then so before you started doing these retreats like full time, what have you been up to?
So after that, I then got into FBA also.
Oh, right.
So I did that with some business partners. So we were doing the FBA game for a bit.
Sick.
So I was doing e-commerce for like 1 or 2 years, you know? And then I started doing a YouTube channel because I learned we created a Udemy course for our Amazon products.
Oh.
So that's when I learned how to do video editing, and I love shooting and cutting up video. I was like,
video's fun.
I love creative. Photography, music, video, I love it all. So that's when I was like, all right, you know what? Let me just document my journey and just shoot shit. So I would talk about the Ayahuasca Retreats.
Yeah.
So I was and then any books I was reading about personal development. So I just started sharing on YouTube, and I was like, man, this is fun. Yeah. And this is before like influencers, were around. So I was just like, I'm just doing it for fun. And then I met our mutual friend Cameron. He reached out to me. He's like, what are you doing, Chris? I'm like, I just came back from Ecuador from a second retreat. I'm kind of doing some soul searching because I kind of want to like see where else I can find more fulfillment and creativity.
Oh, Gallagher.
Yeah, Kevin Gallagher.
Oh, yeah.
So he reached out to me, and we had a call, and he was like, well, I have this new coaching program called Entrepreneurs Awakening or Accelerator. Basically, how to really find your passion, your purpose. And I was like, that sounds like me, because I need to figure out how I can give to the world. And he was like, you sound like you want to be a coach. I was like, shit, I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
And so pretty much at the end of 2015, this is when I started transitioning to being a coach full time. And that's pretty much when that happened.
Nice. Makes total sense. Dude, yeah, I think I told you this before, but I met Cameron Gallagher randomly on the street in Bangkok.
Yeah.
I was just like walking down Sukhumvit, and like right as I was walking down Sukhumvit, like he pops out of a cafe at the exact moment I was in front of it, and I was just like, look at him, and he goes like, hi. And I'm like, hi. He's like, hey, who the fuck are you? Hey, where are you from? I was like, oh, Chiang Mai. I was like, oh yeah, Chris, he's one of my clients. I was like, oh, fucking Chris.
You guys didn't know each other before that?
No.
No shit.
No. I was walking down the street, and he pops out of the door right then, and then I was just like, hi. I think like I said hi to him because he was just like,
that's crazy.
And then we fucking hung out like the next week and like did a podcast. So met him randomly in a metropolis, small Bangkok, small Southeast Asia. We all run into each other here and there. Yeah. Anyway, that guy's a deep motherfucker as well.
He is.
Okay, and now you've been doing these ayahuasca retreats. You did a number of them last year, and you're planning on doing a couple this year.
Yep.
And so, yeah, guys, there it is. Yeah, share this with someone who's still stuck in the 9 to 5. Maybe they're in the financial industries. Because like I always think back, we're so blessed to have these little moments in our life that help us get to where we wanted to be. Whether it was the conference or like I had a best friend to be on the journey with me. Yeah. We all have these little moments, and some people are still waiting for their moments. Trying to, because it's not easy. It's not easy to just change your life. Like, you're just like quit your job and go get a dream job. Which you don't get a dream job, you create a dream job, right?
True.
It's not easy to just like quit your job and go live this new type of independent career, but yeah, I'm super stoked about what you're doing to help people condense a lot of education into one like little 3-month semester or quarter to help people break through and ultimately get to where they want to be, or even figure out where they want to be. Yeah. Like some people are like, so many of us young, 20, 30 something, doesn't even matter. People tell me all the time, like, I have no idea what I want to do with my life, because that could be a huge reason. Yeah. That people
exactly just start the process, start the journey. That's a huge thing. I didn't know what the hell the first 2 years, but it's like taking steps to figure it out. Like no one's gonna point you and teach you, but you have to start taking action. Definitely.
And so like something that comes to mind, like someone who's like not even gone to college yet. Like, have you been with like young as like 18-year-olds go on these, or like would you only recommend it for like older, like 20 something, or like?
So our other Chiang Mai homie, Brandon
Brandon.
He came last year with two homies.
Nice.
And he's like Evan's age. I think he was like 22, 23, 24.
Nice. Okay.
So yeah. So I young as long as you're 18, as long as you're an adult.
18. Yeah.
Come. I have 8 guys from young 20s, and then I'm 39. I have guys up to like 35, 36. So it's a nice wide range. But even I'm getting approached by older guys, family guys now, who want to come to retreats. So it's never too late, never too young.
Fuck yeah. We'll leave it at that. Chris Chiu, people.
Thank you so much.
Links
brother.
in the description.
Thank you,
my pleasure, man. It's been like 3 years. He was one of the original Chiang Mai homies, so I've been asking him to be on the podcast forever.
So yeah,
share this around the internet. You already know. Peace.
Peace.